Hi everyone, and welcome to one of our favorite spots in all of the seacoast of New Hampshire. Samara and I visited here in late September on a beautiful day. I had some camera malfunction, so the sound was horrible. So we will be doing a voiceover for this video. Here I'm talking about how amazing we love the Seacoast Science Center. It is located in Odiorne Park, which is a state park of New Hampshire. You do need to pay to get in here during the summer busier months, but if you are a member of the Seacoast Science Center, then it is included in your membership, which is a great benefit. So we're going to head inside to the Seacoast Science Center. She was a CIT, which means a counselor in training there this summer. So she's got a lot of inside scoop and inside knowledge, and she's a great little tour guide. So we'll head inside. Thank you so much for joining us. As we're about to enter the Seacoast Science Center, you will see a sign with the hours and the cost. It is a super affordable, fun family thing to do. I believe our family membership was about $80, and that is good from the moment you buy it for 365 days, so one whole year. And then I think the sign says $10 per adult, $5 per child. So great, fun family, affordable activity to do here on the Seacoast. As you enter the Seacoast Science Center, there is a desk to pay on the left or sign in if you're a member. Then on the right here, you can see this fun interactive display about learning about currents. This whale fin with the TV in the background is going to show you all about tofu, which is a whale skeleton hanging from the ceiling above me. We're going to go in and explore, following Samara along and discovering all the native species they have here, which is something that I absolutely love. A lot of their tanks are fish that you can find around New England and the seacoast of New Hampshire. Years ago, they had a lionfish here that a fisherman had discovered, obviously not native to New England, but something a fisherman had discovered and donated here. So it was a really cool learning experience for the littles. We're going to spin around here in the lobby. You see the front desk. We're going to walk into the main building, or the main room that has a lot of the cool displays. Samara is pointing out the moon jellies here. These are really cool jellyfish. They actually also have them on display at the Atlantic Grill, which is a wonderful restaurant around the corner. So from here on out, I'm going to let Samara take over and take you on a little tour around the Seacoast Science Center. Take it away, Samara. Thanks so much.
Over on the far side of the aquarium, there is a display of bones for you to touch. All of these bones are whale bones from various whales that have washed up on the local beaches. And what I was holding a second ago was a ear bone from a whale, if you believe it or not. And what I'm holding right now and petting, that is baleen, and it is found in the mouth of a whale. How they get their food is they take a huge gulp of water, and with their giant tongue, they push it out, and what's left is little tiny phytoplankton called krill. After they push the water out of their mouth, they take their tongues and they lick the krill off the inside of their baleen. Now what we are looking at is a starfish. It's a little out of frame currently, but there it is. Every time it loses a limb, like you can see on one of the limbs, it grows it back. Also, on the end of each limb, it has a little eye, and in the center of it, it has its mouth. Once we put down the starfish, right about now, we're going to head over to the next tank. This tank has blue lobsters and flounder. Blue lobsters are blue because of a certain pigment in their skin, and they're very rare. The next thing in this tank is a flounder, and flounders are a flat fish. They're a white fish. They're very tasty. They have both of their eyes on one side of their head, but when they're born, they are regular, and they just have them on either side of their head, and as they grow up, their eyes move to the other side of their head. In this next tank, there's a few hermit crabs and a couple flounders. And I believe there's also a starfish. This tank is a little harder to see the flounder because the sand helps them camouflage better. And the next tank that we're going over to is sea anemones. Sea anemones are an animal that sits on the bottom of the ocean floor and has tentacles that can sting when contacted. Some animals, such as clownfish, can swim in and out of them without being stung, and that makes for a very good home. Over at the next tank that we're going to is the salt marsh tank. At Seacoast Science Center, there's a salt marsh not even a mile away. We sometimes went and visited it. Anyway, so what I'm pointing at now are horseshoe crabs, and the fish above it are mummy chugs. Horseshoe crabs are very closely related to a spider, actually, which is quite cool, judging that they're sea animals and spiders are not. In this tank, there used to be some tropical fish, but now there's not as many. Over here, we've got skates and a giant lobster, and I think some sea bass and a gunner. Or a cunner. I can't ever remember if it's a cunner or a gunner. But anyway, it's really cool to watch this giant lobster to be fed. They poke it in the back and he runs out, he grabs his food and runs back in. He's very cool. I believe that lobster is actually older than I am, so he's quite cool. This little guy that we're looking at now, who's pretty camouflaged into the rocks, is a gunner fish. And I think these are some sea bass over here. And there's another gunner. They're quite cool. They just kind of wait for their food. And just have their food run up to them like an octopus. Some skates and another blue lobster. This blue lobster is a little more blue than the other blue lobster, and most of these animals are found on the coast of the seacoast. And if we keep going, you'll find a red lobster. Red lobsters are also rare because lobsters are usually a darker shade of red, or even sometimes they're brown. But when lobsters are cooked, they become more red. The other thing that's in that tank is Berry the box turtle. She's my personal favorite. She is the cutest thing ever. Box turtles can retract all their limbs into the shell and close it off, so it's impossible for predators to break in. The next thing we're going to are seahorses. Seahorses are so cool. They don't have stomachs, and whenever they eat, it just goes right through them. And it's really cool to watch them at feeding time, which at the Seacoast Science Center you can watch. It just passes right through them. It's just like a little puff of whatever they were eating, and just whatever they need for nutrients is in there, and yeah. As we go over to the center of the room, there's a tank with some little sharks in it, and during the course of the day, the Seacoast Science Center employees come and pick up the sharks, and if you're lucky, you get to touch the shark. It's quite cool and really fun activity. Over on the back side of the aquarium, there's some other tanks. This one is about submerged structures, as you can see the title, and this is what it's like under a dock. This is another gunnerfish. No, it's a cunner. I just saw the tag. Okay. There's also another flounder. He's hiding back there. And there's a sea star. And then we're going to point at some mussels right here. Mussels are quite cool. They've got little feet that stick together, and they all just kind of clump together, and they're super cool. I kind of think that they're like little tentacles, as Spider-Man. I like Spider-Man, if you couldn't tell. Over here we've got the tropical fish aquarium. These tropical animals are quite cool to look at, and I could spend hours just looking at the real coral that they have. That's some real coral. They're growing some more coral, I believe. And you could look at, there's Nemo and Marlin, and see how they're in the anemones, as I talked about before. They're quite cool. Let's just take a minute to appreciate how beautiful this is. Now as we leave the main showroom, we're going to head out to the main lobby. As we head out to the main lobby, these little tablets over here. These are really cool. It's an interactive game. Little kids love it. It's super easy. As I'm going to show you, press, and you just press where you want to play. There's 3 levels. I forget what they are exactly, so you press one of them. I think I chose Portsmouth. You drag the boat inside the water, and you just try to find little hidden things, and when you find them, it will bring you to a screen at the end. See those like little red dot things? You want to try to find those, and I think there's 5 for them. And then afterwards, you can look at the picture and choose what you think it is. It's showing how hurricanes can do damage to a town. If you look at like the shapes, you can tell it's pretty easy. Most little kids can do it. I did very well. As you can see, over here is the Discovery Dock. This has gotten updated since I was a little kid. It used to just be a little rickety boat, but now it's really, really cool. They've got a little pail that you can pull up by a string. Little kids love that. They've got fish on magnets, and you'll see why in a second after I stand by the boat for a second. There's fishing rods with little magnets on the bottom, so you can pick up the fish. It's really fun, and it entertains kids for a very long time. I'm a little too amused by this, I do have to say. Also, it's teaching kids about sustainability. As you see, it says Maine shrimp are crossed out because there is a shortage of them right now. So I think it's cool that they're teaching them about sustainability as they're playing. As I think I said before, there are little costumes for you kids to try on and have fun playing with. There's like some hats, some pants, some boots, and it's just really fun. Now as you go over here, this is the touch tank. As you can see, it's right next to the kids playing dock, and this has some crabs and some hermit crabs and all the fun stuff. Make sure you wash your hands beforehand so you don't hurt the animals. This guy is a hermit crab. They're very cool. This guy is one of the bigger ones, and he's been at the Seacoast Science Center for quite a long time. Once you put him back in the water, we'll see him again. He's pretty big. He's really cute. And now we're gonna go over, there's a small side that's for littler kids if they can't reach this bigger side over here. This side over here is a lot deeper, but it's got a lot of cool animals in it. They've got some anemones, they've got some periwinkles, and of course this side too has some hermit crabs. Right now we're getting some hermit crab from bottom. My hand is quite wet now, as you can see, and we're keeping this guy under the water. He's quite small. He's really cute, and we're gonna watch him scurry away, maybe. Oh no, wait, this guy didn't want to do anything. But it's quite cool to watch him flip over, stand there. Sometimes, if they like you enough, they'll scurry away. Yeah, like this guy's doing now. It's quite cool to watch. There are some measuring devices over there for our little kids to play with, makes them feel really good. As you can see on the ceiling, there is some cool sculptures, so make sure you look up. They're not even sculptures, they're just skeletons of real animals. It's tofu and I think some dolphins. I don't really know their names. And up there, or where I'm walking now, there are the bathrooms. Over here, there's just a bunch of cool artifacts from when there was houses all along where the Seacoast Science Center was. They were huge mansions. They were so cool. There's a way outside where you can go, and it's really cool because it's got the dolphin statue, and that's some of the last remains of these houses. Another cool thing is a lot of these houses had pools, but back then they didn't have the chlorine pools that we have now. They had pipes that went to the ocean, and during high tide, the water would go into the pool and fill it up. It's really cool because there would be crabs in the pool and like small fish, because they didn't have the technology we have now to make sure that they didn't get into the pool. Over here, there's a water pump, and it's really fun, especially for little ones. You stand on the pump and you switch your feet, and it pumps out the water in the back to the flowers. It's really cool. This is a Smithsonian exhibit that's here for a short time, I believe. I think it's another one of those sustainability things. Now as we walk this way, there's this really cool water bottle poem thing you can do. There's just a bunch of water bottles with magnets on it, and you can write your own little poems. They're really cool. I like doing them, even though I'm no poet. Little kids love playing with these, even though they don't know what's going on, but just sticking a water bottle to a magnet's kind of cool. They have words on them, as you can see, words that all relate to saving the environment. Over here, there are some like couch areas that are really fun to hop into. They used to have like little books in these areas that you could read, or it's just a good place to sit down for a few minutes. We're going to keep going into the Smithsonian exhibit because it takes up half of the aquarium currently.
I just have to give a big thank you for Samara for not only narrating this video, but showing us around the Seacoast Science Center. She has been coming here since she was a very little girl, spent a lot of time here this summer being a CIT. We thoroughly enjoy this place, and I hope you guys did too. Please stay tuned for part 2, where she's going to show us a little more of the outside and the hiking trails where she took the kids. It's a beautiful hiking trail down to the ocean, so stay tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out. Thanks so much.